Hi everyone, my name is Eric Dahl, and welcome to the crash course on ASP.NET Core 6. I'm a principal architect at RealPage. ASP.NET Core is a highly performant web development framework that can run and be developed on any platform, and has a development experience that's second to none. If you haven't seen ASP.NET in a while, or at all, this fast-paced course is a great opportunity to have a look. We're going to go from zero to a functional web app in just 2 short hours, and we'll cover many of the central aspects of ASP.NET Core. Some of the major topics that we'll cover include the .NET CLI, or command line interface, the model view controller pattern and how it's used in ASP.NET Core, Entity Framework Core 6 for interacting with and managing a database, Razor View syntax and tag helpers, and ASP.NET Identity for authentication. By the end of this course, you'll know how to create and maintain your own website using ASP.NET Core 6. Before beginning the course, you should be familiar with any server-side web development framework. I hope you'll join me on this journey to learn ASP.NET Core 6 with this crash course aimed at getting you up to speed as quickly as possible right here at Pluralsight. Hello and welcome. If you've gotten past the initial preview and are here, you're probably very ready to jump in and create a website using ASP.NET Core 6. We're going to start quickly and we'll move fast. But first there are some minor housekeeping items to cover. To quickly introduce things, I'm Eric Dahl and my Twitter handle and blog address are shown here. If you have questions, either post them in the discussion with the course here or feel free to hit me up on Twitter. The exercise files can be downloaded from right here if you want to have them for reference, and I'll also show a link to the GitHub repo with this code shortly as well. With that out of the way, let's jump in. If you're coming here with a background in Java and Spring Boot or Ruby on Rails or some other server-side web framework and haven't seen much of .NET recently, there are a lot of things that make it a very compelling framework to consider when building a website. First, it's cross-platform so it can run on Windows, Mac, and Linux equally well. The dev experience and documentation are fantastic, as you're going to see in this course. The performance of the framework itself is one of the fastest around. Check the Tecum benchmarks for details there. It's open source, and there are a wide variety of community packages and support. We're not here to discuss the merits of the framework though, just to get you started building a website. But if you want to know more, check out the course called ASP.NET Core 6 Big Picture for more of this. Now for some version information. This course was created with ASP.NET Core 6. The primary editor we'll use is VS Code, but for a couple of scaffolding features, we'll take advantage of the more heavyweight IDEs for .NET. You can use either Visual Studio or Rider for this. And regarding future versions, any version of .NET Core 6 should be fine with everything we'll be showing here, and this includes ASP.NET Core 7. And relative to the heavier IDEs, Visual Studio 2022 or beyond, and Rider 2021 and beyond will also support what we're showing. Now, let's get going. So let's build a website. The situation we're going to cover will be for a fictional company called Carved Rock Fitness. They're an online retailer for outdoor fitness gear. In just 2 short hours, we'll be building a web application that their employees can use to manage the products that they sell, along with the categories that those products belong to. This won't be a full-blown, full-featured production-grade application, but rather something that could be used as a starting point for something like this. And it'll get you quickly started with ASP.NET Core 6 using the Model View Controller, or MVC pattern, and template for the site. In just a second, I'll show you the site and the features that will be incorporated into it as a little preview of what we're going to be building. And in case you want to have a look at the finished code, it's available in the exercise files for the course for sure, but it's also in the GitHub repo I'm showing here. Note that both of these links will take you to that repo. Both the exercise files and the GitHub repo have a README with links to key areas of the documentation behind the things that we're going to be covering in this course and the app. But now let's see what we'll be creating. Here's the Carved Rock admin site that we're going to build. It's using Bootstrap for styling with a custom theme applied. It's got a navbar across the top with some links for products, categories, and products from a database. This last is not going to be heavily used, but will just show the scaffolded code that has direct database access inside a controller. There's a privacy link, which is just another content page, and then some links for registering and logging in. The privacy link allows direct access and is mostly a hello world type of a page. The products, categories, and products from database pages all require the user to be logged in, and so if I click on products, we get challenged with a login page. There are no automatically created users, so let's register a new one. I'll type eric@carvedrock.com and then provide a password that's at least 6 characters long and has upper, lower, and non-alphabetic characters. We get told that we haven't wired up any email senders, and there's a link that we can use to verify the account in the meantime, which I'll click. And now when I click on products, we have a user that I can log in with. Once I log in, we can see a list of some initial products with action links on the rows, and a button to create a new product. If I edit the first product and then make the price more than $200 and click Save, I get a validation error that says we can't have a price of more than $200 for footwear products. I'll change it to $79 and then click Save again. This saves the product and returns us to the listing, where you can see the updated price of $79 for our Trailblazer product. I can create a brand new product as well. I'll call it Big Top, and it's a kind of a tent, so I'll choose Equipment as the category. I'll say it's a huge tent and give it a bargain basement price of $350. Since this isn't footwear, the fact that it's more than $200 isn't a problem. If I try to create another one and just hit Save, you can see some validation messages that tell me I need to fill in the values. The Categories feature behaves in much the same way, and so I'll create a new category. I'll give it a name of clothing and hit Save. That works and takes me back to the listing page, which now shows the new category. And if I pop over to the Products tab and create a new product, clothing now shows up in the category dropdown. I can delete products as well, and this provides a confirmation page, and then when I click delete, it returns me to the product listing and the product is no longer there. Finally, if I click my username, there are a variety of features available to manage my account, including setting up two-factor authentication using an app. But that's the app we'll be creating, and we'll do it one step at a time. Now let's cover the approach we'll be taking throughout this course. This is a crash course, so for the most part we're going to be diving straight into the code. There won't be many slides. We're going to build this app together, and the focus will be to show you the syntax of the code and the typical structure and layout of the project. We'll add features incrementally, one step at a time, in a way that reinforces what we've already seen, while showing new and often more involved features of the framework. I'll mention concepts as we go, but I'm not going to be explaining them in any kind of depth. This will include things like databases, dependency injection, configuration, packages, and more. Other courses at Pluralsight can help explain those concepts further if they're confusing to you here. As I noted earlier, we'll use VS Code as our primary editor in this course, but I'll use Visual Studio or Rider at a couple of different times to show some of the benefits of using those for scaffolded code items. I'll be copying and pasting blocks of code occasionally to save you the time of watching me type things line by line, but we'll always explain the code that's been added. I'll also include both documentation and Pluralsight course references for when you might want to dig deeper into a topic than we have time for in this course. You'll need a couple of things on your workstation to work along with me. First off, you'll need to have the .NET SDK installed. Make sure that it's the SDK and not just the runtime. Then you'll need an IDE, or Integrated Development Environment. We'll primarily be using VS Code, which is very lightweight and fast, and you'll want the C# language extension installed with it as well. There are two more full-featured IDEs for working with ASP.NET Core 6 applications, Visual Studio, and this includes Visual Studio for Mac, and JetBrains Rider. As I noted, we'll be using these for a couple of more advanced feature scaffolding, or generating some code that gets us pretty close to where we might want to end up and saves us a lot of time. You don't need both Visual Studio and Rider, but if you have one or the other, the Community Edition is fine for Visual Studio on Windows and is free, you're going to be fine. Regarding all of these, no special installation instructions are needed. Just download the installers and accept any defaults if you don't already have these resources on your machine. And with all of this preamble completed, let's go build that website now.